Is Fortnite Season 5 Chapter 2 the end of this chapter? This may sound crazy, but there's some evidence that kind of makes me think so. There's also some recent teasers that bring up the discussion of a time loop. I'm going to go into all the details, and by the end of this video, you might be convinced as well, or at least think that there's something very big coming into play in the Fortnite universe. So be sure to like and subscribe because we're almost at 5 million subscribers. It would be awesome to hit that very soon. Let's jump into this. Okay, so let's assume that we are going to stay in Chapter 2 for a full 10 seasons like we did in Chapter 1. We have Season 6, 7, 8, 9, and then X, aka Season 10. The timeline in terms of how long we would be on this map would push in the 2.5 to 4 year range if we played out the rest of the seasons on this map. Chapter 1, the old map, took about 24 months to complete. Chapter 2, on the other hand, is already on 18 months. You know, if we go through with all the rest of the seasons until X, we will basically be in this chapter until 2023. So imagine from now until 2023, we're still playing, you know, kind of on the same map with the same rivers and the same structure. I feel like that's a very long time. It could make things boring without having a full, fresh reset. I have said in the past, you know, it would be cool to go back to the old map, but in reality, a lot of that, and I'm admitting that a lot of that is nostalgia. And even though it would be cool to have the option to play on the old map, after a couple of months of playing on the old map, you would probably want something fresh and exciting. So, you know, we could be seeing a new map for Fortnite sooner than 2023. I feel like that's a very long time to wait. Now, if this happened, it doesn't really make sense with the rhythm that Fortnite has had in place. If you guys know, Season 1, Chapter 1, and Season 1, Chapter 2 had a lot of similarities. Same thing with Season 2 of both chapters, Season 3 and Season 4 and 5. So are we just gonna have like a darkness season next season where it's like the battle pass but dark themed like we did with Season 6? That seems like a predictable thing. Even though now we're catching on to their rhythm, they always want to keep the players guessing and surprised with the updates, which is why like it's not completely out of the realm of reality that, you know, the first chapter is 10 seasons and the next chapter is half of that in terms of seasons, but it's still about the same amount of time covered on this map. At the end of the day, the main character of Fortnite isn't actually Jonesy. The main character is the map itself. The map tells the story. All the changes and events affect the map. And this has been said by the creators of Fortnite themselves, that the story really revolves around the map. So, you know, so far in this chapter, we've had some, you know, minor adjustments. We've had, you know, the agency and some other changes to the map. We have now the sand area, which was pretty much disabled for most of the season up until recently. But the map has yet to really experience huge changes like the first chapter map that had like the snow biome, the volcano, the jungle, frosty flights, and a bunch of other huge game-changing, map-changing events went down on the first map. That has yet to really happen on the second map. Sure, we had a flood that lasted a season, but didn't really have too much long-lasting effects on the map. After the flood kind of drained, we were back to something to what we had before the flood even happened. So maybe this map is just like getting started and the story is about to just kick off into overdrive and things are going to start changing really fast like they did in the first map. And maybe I'm completely wrong about the theory that the chapter is coming to an end soon, but there are some other things that I'm going to point out in this video that kind of make me think that this could be the beginning of the end or the end of this chapter. So let's jump into those theories and why I think so. So we made a video talking about Kevin the Cube and how Kevin the Cube is most likely not gone. You know, there's been a hint that Kevin the Cube is, you know, gone but not forgotten, or that he might make a return potentially this season. This is kind of sort of confirmed through some tweets from Donald Mustard. And in one of the trailers that was recently posted, you could kind of see some purple glows that kind of point towards Kevin the Cube potentially making a return. That purple energy could be Kevin the Cube energy. So in the Daryl and Michonne trailer for The Walking Dead, Jonesy seems like beaten up and battered from having to hunt down all of these hunters and bring them to the Fortnite universe to help him. His clothes were ragged and his tie was loose, and he was kind of a mess, right? And then in the recent trailer with the Terminator, his suit was actually gone, and his hair that was all polished and stuff was all over the place. It was a mess. And then he had his tie that he was wearing. He actually had that tie around his arm. And that's a very important point to make, because the default Jonesy that we know had that red ribbon tied around his arm. So the Jonesy with the suit is slowly transforming into the default Jonesy. It seems like the process is repeating. Like he's going through the loop. He goes from the suit Jonesy to the beaten up Jonesy to the default Jonesy, and then eventually he becomes like the caveman Jonesy. And we know that there is a ghost looking Jonesy with the really old, long beard. He's trying to escape the loop, but maybe the Jonesy in the suit prevents his older version of himself from escaping. So there is some sort of time loop going on. Jonesy is going through becoming old, becoming young. It might be all happening at the same time. Whenever we talk about time travel, it can be very confusing, especially in stories like this, exactly how time works and how there might be multiple universes and multiple timelines happening at the same time. If we escape the loop, if we broke that, what would happen to the current map? What would happen to the current chapter? Is chapter 3 going to be what happens post the loop, post breaking out of the loop? What would that entail for the Fortnite universe? And also like a Fortnite chapter 3 map, what would that look like? I feel like I've had some really good ideas as to how to spice things up in terms of like theories and cool ideas as to what I would bring to a Fortnite chapter 3 map. And if you guys want me to make a video talking about what I think a Fortnite chapter 3 map would look like and how like different POIs could be changed to be very, very cool and unique things would have to come into the chapter. So in chapter 2, they introduced picking up players, they introduced fishing and swimming and boats, and there's been a lot of game-changing mechanics that got introduced with chapter 2. How would we take that a step further in chapter 3? What things would you want to see implemented in Fortnite? New features and mechanics that would be very game-changing to come to chapter 3, which could be around the corner for all we know. If you guys want me to make a video talking about that, like all the ideas that I have for chapter 3, let me know and I'll definitely do that very soon. I do want to add that today Fortnite went on a tweeting spree. They posted a bunch of weird cryptid messages from like Drift. So Drift was in the previous chapter, and apparently Drift got control of like the Fortnite Twitter account and posted a bunch of stuff about how he's in trouble, people are coming, and they posted a screenshot, and we definitely saw Lucky Landing in the screenshot. And we actually talked about this, how the character in Lucky Landing, I think his name is Komodo, he's one of the characters in the battle pass, and he is actually an NPC in Lucky Landing. His voice lines and stuff from the teasers were before the chapter got released or the season got released. He's talking about like an area that looks like Lucky Landing, so he's most likely from Lucky Landing. And then if you overlay the old map and the new map on top of each other, Lucky Landing is exactly where Misty Meadows currently exists. So we might see a version of Drift be like recruited from Jonesy or something go down, and we might see a transformation in Misty where it's gonna transform and like part of Misty, just like how Tilted Towers became Salty Towers, where it's like a mix of Tilted and Salty. We might see that same thing go down in Misty, where it's going to be a mix of Misty Meadows and Lucky Landing. And that would be a very interesting approach to changing up the POIs. It would be like bringing back some old POIs while mixing it in with the new ones. And so far, Salty Towers has been a pretty big success. It definitely gives you the Tilted Towers vibes, but in a unique new way that's refreshing. And that might be the approach that Fortnite is trying to take in terms of bringing back old POIs and old things from the map that people like. So you can still bring back the nostalgia while keeping it fresh and exciting. Do you guys think we're going to be stuck in this chapter until 2023? According to the timeline, that does seem like what it's going to be, unless Fortnite drastically reduces the length of the seasons, which could be the case. They might start wrapping things up quicker with the seasons, and the story might start progressing quicker. So we might see more progression, and we might actually complete the full 10 seasons of chapter 2 before we go to chapter 3. I personally wouldn't mind jumping to chapter 3 quicker than expected, because at the end of the day, both chapter 1 and chapter 2 already have ran for about the same period of time. Chapter 2 is only a few months behind the length of chapter 1. So it might be time for something new and exciting in Fortnite. If you guys have any ideas as to what they might add in chapter 3, comment down below. I'll be sure to make a video compiling some of the coolest ideas that you guys comment down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.